Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very accomplished entrepreneur from New Delhi, India, Mr. Chirag Gupta. Chirag, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ashutosh sir. Glad to be on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Chirag is the founder of 4700 BC, and I won't tell you what 4700 BC is. We'll ask Chirag. Chirag, with a name like 4700 BC, when I first read about you, I thought we were going back pre-Buddha and the Mauryan age and so on. But Tell me about this venture and your unique name.
So we started like a popcorn company, right? So, this is way back in 2013-14. I was working. I studied in US and then was working in US with Deloitte, and we found this product, gourmet popcorn, which was very booming in US at that time. And and I happened to move back to India for family reasons, and I realized there's nothing like this available in India. Right. And India being such a big market, such a big snacking market, right? A popcorn product like popcorn was only limited to cinemas or like our childhood memories of radies and all those stuff, right? So that's what we realized there's a huge gap in the market, right? And everybody knows about popcorn, right? But nobody was asking for it, right? That was the major problem, right? And that's where we thought, we need to retell the whole story of popcorn to a consumer to bring that love back, right? And so that's why we went into the history of popcorn. We said, what happened to the popcorn? How can we retell the whole story about popcorn to a consumer, right? And so we were going through Wikipedia and articles about popcorns, and we realized there's a unique event happened in the history. Like they found fossils of popcorns, which they carbon dated to 4700 BC.
Okay,
right?
That's okay.
So 6700 years from today, they said, people knew how to make popcorns, right, from corn, right? So we thought it's an interesting name. We were very fascinated by numeric names overall, right? It's always come on the top of a dictionary or a directory or something, right? So we thought it's an interesting name, and I think it just gave us the theme to speak to a consumer. Right. So that's how this whole name got invented. And I think we are Delhiite, being an old Delhi born and brought up guy, we were fascinated by food overall. So I think it really helped us, get kick-started with the venture.
So, I'm much older than you. For me, popcorn was always something that my parents would give me money for when we went to a movie.
Correct.
And somehow at the back of one's mind, there was always the fact that if we did not eat it quickly, the popcorn may get soggy or soft. The crispness may go away. You have institutionalized this in packs, and I was looking at your website. You seem to have multiple flavors, etc.
Sure.
What goes into keeping popcorn for a long shelf life?
So, I mean, if you look at it from a food perspective, right, anything which is kept in open deteriorates, right? So it is valid for a potato chips also, right? Somebody fries the chips and take it out.
Yeah.
Probably they remain crispy for a longer time than popcorn, but they still deteriorate and become soggy at some point, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's valid for all the products, right? With the whole this food technology which has come in, the packaging technology which has come in, I think this has come to a next level, right? So it's not something we have really done, honestly. I mean, we'll not take credit for that, but I think it's so many people around the world who've done on the food technology and the packaging thing, which has made this whole thing, possible to reach out to consumer, right? So it's as simple as, as soon as you pack, as soon as you produce the popcorn, you pack it in the same condition. And in that condition is such that it doesn't get exposed to oxygen and all those things which actually deteriorates the product, right? So same thing we have done, and I think it's valid for all the snacking products around.
Right? Very interesting. And as an entrepreneur who is building an amazing, a fast-moving consumer good product as a brand. What have been some of your challenges as you have scaled up?
So again, what I always say, whatever is our core problem is our challenge, right? So we are trying to solve the problem with popcorn is one is everybody knows about it, but nobody knows where to buy, and the availability is an issue, right? So I think that's what we are trying to solve, right? With any snacking product, now we have become beyond popcorns. Also, we are launching more and more products. See, I think the problem is reachability to a consumer in India, right? How do you get the right shelf space? How do you be there, right? So today, if you watch a movie at home, do you know where you can get popcorns? The answer is probably 50-50, right? You may not know how to quickly get the popcorns. Whereas, can you get the chips quickly? Yes, right? Because that is widely spread, available to every nook and corner, right? So that's a core problem. And I think that remains a challenge also, is basically reach out to consumer in all possible ways, right? And in the consumer preferred choice of buying the product, right? So you probably may not be a digital guy, maybe preferring a kirana store near you, versus a guy who is more digitally savvy and say, I really need to go online and find this product. And snacking being an impulsive product needs to be quickly delivered, right? Same as medicines or Guardian Pharmacy, what you founded. I mean, the similar issue, right? If you need a snack, you need a snack, right? As simple as that. You cannot wait for a day or two to get it to you, right? So I think that remains our biggest challenge, is distribution, how to reach out to all the consumers who love a product and want the product. I think that's a problem we are continuously solving to increase our distribution and reach out to them. So I would remain distribution is the biggest challenge.
Wonderful. Great response. So Chirag, the other challenge that I have understood based on conversations with many parents is nutrition, value of food, because you're a young individual. Most young parents have become very conscious of what nutrition they give to themselves and to their children.
Right.
What are some of the nutrition challenges parents face for their children? And you define 4700 BC as a healthy snack.
We don't define ourselves to be 100% like a healthy snacks. What we define ourselves is one of the brands who are honest, right? Clean label in what we do.
Okay.
Right? Whatever ingredients we use, we say it is best to our knowledge, and the best of the quality we can bring in. Right? That's our promise, right? Because some of the products, right? We because of the nature of the product, especially in popcorn category, it's like gourmet popcorns. So we have to use caramel, we have to make chocolates, we have to make cheese, right? And our commitment is what we do is best to our knowledge, right? So in terms of quality, right? Because it's caramel, it may not be healthy for some generation, but the best thing I like about popcorn is one. No parent has a bad perception about it, right? As a product, right? Compared to a fried chips or a bhujia or anything, right? Popcorn has a very clean image in itself, right? So I don't need to overly stress to a consumer saying, hey, this is healthy, right? What I need to tell them is, I think, hey, we made it with a good ingredient. This is the best quality popcorn you can get around the country, made with the best ingredients. And whatever flavors we have done, right? It's better than the next best option available to them, right? For example, you're eating a mithai versus a chocolate popcorn. Chocolate popcorn is still a better option, right? In that sense, because at least they're getting something healthy with it, which is the main popcorn, which is rich in fiber, rich in ingredients, right? Compared to any mithai a kid would eat, or a pure chocolate they will eat from Cadbury's or something. So I think that's what we look for. As a company, our focus has been on delivering a premium snacks to a consumer. Premium can come from good ingredients, innovative packaging, or something healthy also, right? So we have launched makhanas recently. We launched world's first ready-to-eat sweet corn, right? You can just open the pack. There's a spoon. You can start eating it. Right. So there's innovation in terms of packaging, but we're delivering a very healthy product, sweet corn, in a ready-to-eat format. Right. So that's how we've been building it up as a company. I think that's remain our core commitment to a consumer also.
Fascinating. I must try out your makhana and your sweet corn.
Yes.
And I'm sure all our viewers and listeners will check you out of 4700 BC. But, there is another dilemma when you come to food. And I've spoken to many people on food that we eat. There is healthy food, there is nutritious food, etc. But yet, for an Indian palate, when you go back to a restaurant, the biggest selling product is still butter chicken, dal, and roti.
Right.
And when you come to snacking, it's the quintessential bhujia, which is still there in every home.
Correct.
What are the challenges healthy snacks? And I'm a very great believer in switching to healthy snacks because, for our own health. What are your challenges in trying to convince consumers to be able to actually switch? Because only then will you be able to get significant volumes.
So see, I think it's a game of economics.
Correct.
How I look at it, right? A person who can afford to eat pay higher, better price to a product will definitely go for a better option, right? In terms of offerings, right? A consumer who is less fortunate in this regard would look for the best value product, right? And best value for them could be the how much quantity he's getting in the same price, right? And and the taste, right? So I think as the demand for healthy products will increase, right, the cost of making the healthy product will reduce, and that's where the economics will start make sense for a mass consumer to consume those kind of products, right? That I think is for the first, that's where the world is going, right? And if the world is going in that direction, I think the cost of making healthier products will reduce, right? And that will help us. I think from a second perspective, I think from an Indian perspective, right, the taste, the palate is still the biggest point, right? And if you've been pushed to eat bhujia for last 100 years, 200 years in this country, 500 years, your taste palates had developed that like that, right? So I think it's a matter of time for consumer to taste other products, get used to it, and the following generation will get more used to popcorn versus a bhujia, for example, right? So I think we have to be patient to build that thing. It cannot be done overnight. I cannot convert a user who loves bhujia to popcorns in a week, right? That's not even a closely option for us, right? So I think it's a matter of time. We have to be there. We have to be patient in building categories for product, right? Obviously, marketing plays a huge role, but I think we have to be patient same time with the marketing, right?
Interesting. Very interesting. Chirag, a few minutes ago, you also spoke about a consumer who understands digital a bit better than maybe some other consumers.
Right.
My question to you is, as you build a strong snack brand, how are you using digital to be able to take your message of 4700 BC out to the consumer?
For a new age branch like us, right, and being new age, I mean, digitally savvy ourselves, right? It is easier for us to market to a consumer digitally, right? So that is one of the strongest point. And the consumer we are targeting to begin with our journey is also digital savvy, right? The medium to large income groups, right? Mid-size income groups. So they're also getting digital savvy. So I think it is easier for us to talk to a consumer who understand or on the same page as us. And at the same time, we understand digital parameters much better than the traditional general trade parameters of marketing, right? So that takes time, that takes resources, that takes a lot of money for us to market in this category, right? So I think, and because of the size of the digital is still smaller than the mass market, right? It is again easier to understand the economics of it, right? Whereas if I today go and start talking to consumer in every city of the country, I will obviously end up doing much bigger mistakes and much bigger risk, right? Whereas the digital allow us to play that game better, right? So I think digitally is only helping because we are talking to like-minded people, similar to the new age brands, and plus we are able to convey our message to that platform better because we understand that platform better. Whereas I think what I've realized in last 4 years, right? If you have to go mass market, you need a Salman Khan, right? Whereas digitally, I don't need a Salman Khan, right? At today's time. And I think as a user, you will understand what I mean, right? Because a Salman Khan can talk to a massy market much better than I can talk to them directly.
Absolutely.
Right? And they get the trust, they get everything from seeing Salman Khan or Amir Khan there, right? Digitally, probably it is much easier to me not even have those characters and still communicate my message. Absolutely. I think so. I think we'll get there. I think it's a long journey. I think, but it's something we need to gain experience from a smaller territory and then understand the bigger picture. But let's just get the digital users first and then go for a mass.
No, absolutely. So one more question for you, and the healthy snacking market is becoming quite crowded. How is 4700 BC differentiating itself?
So again, I think when I see Indian market for example, right? What I've realized is there's a huge gap between a mass market brand and a premium brand and maybe a healthy brand, right? There's a huge gaps. They're like different clusters altogether, right? And what we want to build is like a horizontal layer of a premium snacking brand, right? Where we might have a healthy product also, we might have an indulgence product also, we might have different products also. But the underlying promise is simple, right? Taste, innovation, and a premium value product to consumer, right? Because if we do innovation, we bring better taste, or if we have a clean label product, there's definitely a value add to the product, right? So that brings the premiumness to it. So I think that's the layer we are trying to build. I think, as you said, I think it's getting crowded in a particularly healthy segment, but I also think that market will grow much faster than the traditional non-healthy category, right? So I think that is where everybody is looking for their own space, right? Whoever takes that first mover advantage, build that space faster, I think will be able to build a brand much faster. We again have some product which is very extensively in the healthy category. There's some which is in the indulgence category. Trust me, I think if you talk about numbers, indulgence is growing, at a very good growth in India also, right? As chocolate and all these products becoming more accessible to massy people, they're still having those products, right? So I think it's just that I think health market is growing much faster relatively, but it's a much smaller market, and that's why it looks crowded. But it's the same thing where there are too many people in a bubble, and they're all looking for bubble to burst and take out the maximum space when it bursts. I think some people will succeed, some obviously in that journey. So, but yes, I think if we all go in that direction, I think eventually it will help the consumer in the end, and I think it will help us bring down the costing overall.
Very interesting. I have time for two more questions. One more related to 4700 BC and what I would probably call brand extension. From corn, you have now moved to makhana.
Sure.
And I'm sure you must be looking at many more products which are in snacking.
Sure.
How will you reconcile, first as the founder, the use of 4700 BC, which was so highly focused on corn, to a whole lot of other products?
Right. So I think what I believe is two things. One is, early stage for us to build two brands is very tough. And building one brand is tough, so building two brands is 1,000 times tougher.
Right. Yes.
Right. So because we have a limited consumer base, and then we have different brands to communicate with them, it's very tough. So And second, I think with 4700 BC as a brand, I think we built that trust with the consumer, right? Over a period of time, been there constantly on their face for so many years. I think it makes so obvious to continue that trust and, take an extension forward, right? And that's what I'm saying. Every brand in that journey have repositioned them over the years, right? Even Subway has done that. All the bigger brands have done this. So I think our repositioning is only that, we started committing more towards the innovation and premium snacking, right? That's what we are focusing on. Whether it's popcorn, makhanas, tomorrow we're getting into chips or maybe something else, right, in the future, right? I think that's become our underlying focus. But honestly, I believe building 2, 3 brands
Oh,
so
absolutely.
early in a stage, it's not possible for us. I mean, it's like
I
digging
agree.
your own well, I think. But I think if the brand has built a strong trust in the consumer, consumers trust the brand. I think there is no harm for a brand to take it forward, keep building on the trust, and keep delivering more value. Um, but I think every brand you see around the world, right, have evolved, right? Haldiram, right, from a bhujia to mithais, and now packet snacks to now even selling Western snacks, right? Who would have thought that, right?
Correct.
So everybody has evolved, right? But the trust with the brand remains, right? So I think that's the relation. So I'm here to build a brand, to be honest, than building a product, right? And I think brand needs trust to the consumer, and consumer need to trust the brand. That's the number one thing, right? And that's what we are trying to do in the end.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Great response. And my last question to you, and this is for the many, many people who will listen to our conversation. Based on your amazing journey, studied in the US, came back, founded 4700 BC, building out a brand. What would you say, Chirag, are 3 lessons you would want our viewers and listeners to take away from your learnings and our conversation?
So I think one of the biggest things we have learned, if you need to be successful in the consumer business, right, you need to build a brand, right? You need India as a country has been, always been a trading company,
Yeah.
right? That's how I believe, right? And I think
Correct.
it's the time for our country to become like a country who makes brands out of for the world, right? So I think building a brand is most important thing if you want to be successful in consumer business.
Correct.
I think the second thing we have learned is to be patient in this category, right? You cannot throw money and build trust overnight, right? I have not seen brands able to do and succeed in that way, right?
Absolutely.
Either the investor run out of the of the patients, right, or the consumer run out of the patients,
Yeah.
right, or there's too much of something being thrown at consumer, which gets overwhelming, right? So I think patience is definitely a consumer brand. Britannia is not built in one day, right, or 1 year or 5 years. Amul, right, Haldiram, they're not built in years, or they built in tens of years, right? 40, 50, 30 years. I think that's how and they're still building, right? It's not like they've done their job, right? But it is easier for them to not launch a new product because the trust has been built over a period of time. So I think patience is very important in the consumer category. And you need one USP for yourself for longer run, right? Why 47 BC products, right? Why, when you talk through 4700 BC to a consumer,
Yeah.
right, what is the first word comes to their mind, right? For us today, maybe it's popcorn, right? Tomorrow, could it be innovation, right? Or what is that one word which comes to your mind, right? That will be your USP for years to come, right? I think that's where I think I have realized over the period thing, and building a brand is not an easy thing in India or anywhere, right? So investors have to be patient. You need investors who have that patience, right? And you need to keep doing the right things over a period of time, and then it starts giving results,
Yes.
right? But so many brands have come, thrown money, but not died also so fast.
Absolutely.
But their product had promise, but it just we're trying to scale too fast too early, and that's what been the reason for the not being successful. I think that's one thing is there in the back of our mind and trying to build it that way. But again, any consumer brand needs like-minded investors, like-minded people to back them up. I think we are fortunate enough we have those also, and look forward to similar people. But yeah, that's the direction. I think that were the three main points I would come in.
Fantastic. Chirag, on that note, and your wonderful pieces of advice to be successful, build a brand, which is really go beyond trading or using other people's platforms. Second is be patient because you cannot throw money and build a brand. Very powerful advice. And finally, have a USP for yourself. I think with these three words of the three phrases of sentences of advice, thank you so much for speaking to me. Thank you for talking to me about your amazing journey in building 4700 BC. When I was reading about you initially, I didn't know what 4700 BC was till I went into more detail. And of course, in our show, in our conversation, you've given a fabulous, reason on why 4700 BC. So thank you again for speaking to me about your journey and all the work that you're doing in building a healthy snack.
Sure.
Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you and 4700 BC.
Thanks so much, sir. Thanks for having me here. I think we it's a good conversation for everybody viewing this. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.